Hi, Susan here. I am here to introduce your Emotional Intelligence Project. It's due on October 19th and it's not too early to begin. Most students that receive an A in this project tell me it takes about 7 to 8 hours. So it's a fun project though, and it will take some time, but it will be valuable time. So why is emotional intelligence so important? First of all, about 75% of the executives who are derailed, they're absolutely creamed at the top, they wind up losing their jobs, etc., are usually out of a job due to lack of emotional intelligence. So one or more of the 5 components of emotional intelligence are missing. Another way of thinking about this is, you know those people that are really, really smart and you can't believe how incredibly stupid they are? Those folks usually are missing one out of or more out of the 5 components. So what are the 5 components of emotional intelligence? Your first step will be to read the article. It's a seminal article by Daniel Goleman called What Makes a Leader. Daniel Goleman is a Harvard professor, researcher, etc., who did not create or do the original research on emotional intelligence. That was done by some other folks, but he was the one to popularize it. You'll read this article, you'll discover there are 5 components, 5 parts to emotional intelligence, and those 5 parts are 1. Self-awareness, 2. Self-motivation, 3. Self-regulation, 4. Empathy, and 5. Social skills. All 5 are very important. Social skills are really the composite of the first 4. So when you do your project, think of social skills as going to have a little piece of everything in it if you choose that for your component. In this project, you will only choose one of these components. Do not do a project on all 5. Don't do it on emotional intelligence altogether. I have had people do that before, and really the most I can give them is 50 points. So you don't want that. This is a 100-point project. So pick one of the 5 components. Now some people choose the ones that they're best at because they're most familiar with it. Other people challenge themselves and say, okay, I'm bored with that, I get it, but I'm not really great at self-motivation, or I'm not really great at empathy. So, you do as you please. The actual project is not a paper, so you will be actually creating a PowerPoint. You'll be doing the research. In step 2, I talked to you about how you might go about that research. I suggest a few things. Please remember that Wikipedia is a fine place to look at, but you need to look at the actual citations, the original citations in whatever Wikipedia article you read or topic you read, and look at those original works. You cannot cite Wikipedia as one of those sources. I'm going to challenge you to choose at least 6 sources. Please don't pick the first 6 hits. Believe me, I've seen it all. So, dig a little deeper. Your videos, your songs, all of that stuff do not include as one of the 6 citations that you will need to find. Okay. I find that students don't seem to have trouble with the first 3 numbers under step 3. But the 4th one, find a video clip that demonstrates this component well. People tend to struggle with that one. So what I'm asking you to do, just as I use Scrubs and I use the Jack Nicholson video and some other things in the work that I present to you, I'm asking you to find a clip from a movie or a TV show that exemplifies that particular component. I do not want you to find some talking head that is just going to talk about self-awareness or talk about empathy. That's not what it's about, right? You can see in number 5, I'm asking you to find the antithesis of that particular component. That is the opposite, if you will, of, let's say, self-awareness. So somebody who is clearly not self-aware. Maybe they're taking on a project they shouldn't take on, and it's pretty evident that they're not capable of doing it. There's going to be a scene or something that will show that kind of thing. So the antithesis video. So that's 2 videos. Then I'm asking you to find a person in public life that demonstrates, this is number 6 under step 3, that demonstrates this particular component, whichever one you chose. So that person, let's say it's President Obama. That person, you might say, exhibits self-awareness. So that's nice, and we all know that. However, give a specific example, a situational example. President Obama is my example of self-awareness. Here's why I think he's self-aware, and here's a particular example in which he clearly demonstrates self-awareness, and here's why. So, again, in these slides that are going to be very sparse in terms of words, you're going to probably put that situational example in the notes section of PowerPoint. If you don't understand where the notes section is, or if you're not familiar with PowerPoint, again, we have labs, computer labs, digital learning labs. We have places where you can go on all 3 campuses that can help you with PowerPoint. Again, in number 7, now you're going to choose a person in your own life, somebody we don't know. So you're going to need to describe, again, a situational example. Be specific about that. In number 10, this is a tricky one, right? So many people do not do this correctly, even though I think the examples are pretty clear. So what you want to do in this is find 5 to 7 tips. So let's say somebody wants to increase their self-motivation. And you're doing that particular component. What are the 5 or 7 tips? Specific tips that you would suggest that they do. So, for self-motivation, for instance, you may choose to suggest, and please don't use this one, that people set goals, and in particular that they set SMART goals, and then you might describe what SMART means. So really, I can look at that and say, okay, I could do something about that. I can create SMART goals. Another thing that you want to notice is if you tell somebody something like, be open-minded. Be open-minded. So what does open mind mean? It means, I pull my mind apart. What exactly does open mind mean? It doesn't help me. I don't know how to be open-minded, perhaps. So maybe what you want to say to me instead is, read fiction and try and imagine yourself in each of those characters' situations. What would you do? Okay, I could read a fictional book and I could say, okay, what would this person, if I were this person, what would I do? That gives me something solid to hang on to. Don't give a bunch of exhortations like, be strong, be vulnerable, be time efficient, be, all that's really nice, but how do we go about doing that? And if you ever, by the way, tried to tell somebody to be open-minded, they have no idea what they're talking about if they're really not open-minded. So give them a hint here. Give them something to do. Hope that helps. If it is possible, create a PowerPoint and talk to us just as I'm talking to you. I could be scrolling up, I could be scrolling down on this PowerPoint, and perhaps that would create more interest. So just do it in as succinct a manner as you can do it, knowing that we'll be able to see it on the side. That would be great. For this tool, I'm using Screencast-O-Matic. It's a wonderful tool. I'm sure there are things like that as well. Many of you have computers in which you can create a short video on it. Why don't you do that? That would kind of lighten it up, make it easier. This is something that you will really appreciate in the end, especially if you take the time to do it well. In Appendix A, you're going to see some more information. I'm telling you there to make each slide a maximum of 10 words per line and 10 lines per slide. Am I going to sit there and count it? No, but you get the idea that there's not a bunch of writing on the slide. You're not dumping a paper onto the slide. Anything additional that you want to say for that slide to explain it, and there will be things, and you should have pretty robust notes you're going to put in the notes section of PowerPoint. Again, you can get help with that, and in PowerPoint it's actually pretty straightforward. Let me see if I can do this for you now. Hold on. So yes, probably can't do this well. Let's see, maybe I can. I don't know. I'll give it a shot. So if we look at this, on the lower part of this slide, no, this isn't going to work. Oh well, I tried. I can work on that later. Finally, you're going to use a font and a background that makes it easy for us to read. I think the worst one I ever received was pink lettering on a blue background. I wish I had saved it. It was pretty bad. So, use creativity, graphs, pictures, analogies, metaphors. That's part of the rubric. I'm going to be looking for creativity on this. Use cartoons. Use anything that lightens up the information, makes it more interesting, and is highly relevant. Finally, when you finish this, Thursday night after 9 p.m. on October 19th, you're going to post this PowerPoint as an attachment on discussion board. You cannot post it sooner than that because you don't want anybody else to see your work. So you're going to post it on discussion board and submit it into your Dropbox. And then we'll be reviewing and critiquing each other's PowerPoints. So have some fun with this. This can be so enjoyable. And I really enjoy grading them for the most part. It's a blast. So take care, and please, if you have any questions about anything, help each other, ask me. You've got GroupMe. You can email everyone, although GroupMe is a whole lot more effective. And yeah, have fun. Hope this helps. Bye for now.